Static sparks drift in a crimson tone. Low wind pressure shakes the circuit bone. Sin waves ripple in a woven slide, pulling every fragment to the inner tide. Patterns loop tight in a mirrored spin. Hi-hat slice, then where the beats begin. Rises curl slow in a rising flare. Tension drawing closer in the loaded air. Climbing sweep, pulling every second from the circuits deep, 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 deep. Pulse over fire blazing through the night, twisting every shadow into shards of light, running with the charge of a shifting stream, lost within the rhythm. But the pulse still waits in the hidden line, ready for the surge when the beats align. Oh, 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 oh. Static coils deep in the fractured air. Bass lines rumble with a coded snare. Lead tone spiral in a tightened spin, pulling every signal to the core within. Hi-hat snap like a sharpened thread. Patterns cross paths where the circuits spread. Rise and climb slow in a crawling sweep, dragging every moment from the system's deep. Pulse divergence cutting through the haze, shifting all the waves in electric phase, riding on the force where the voltage plays, lost inside the noise of the drifting maze. Oh. Kick drum cracks in a rapid splice, rhythm surge loud like a mirrored slice, vocal shards drift in a filtered wave, folding into echoes that the shadows crave. Breakdown thins out like a cooling flame, silence holds tight in a suspended frame, then the lift bursts back in a sudden strike, pulling every fragment into perfect sync. Pulse divergence cutting through the haze, flickered glow, fading slow into the undertow. But the pulse remains in a hidden line, waiting for the next loop to realign. Flickers deep in a fractured arc, signal split sharp, cutting through the dark. Bass grows heavy in a sinking wave, dragging every thought to the path it paves. Hi-hats crackle like a thermal spark, pattern slice clean through the circuit's bark. Riser coils tight like a spark restrained, tension fills the room where the sound remains. Neon fault line breaking from below, shattering the pulse in a sudden glow. Riding on the clash as the patterns throw, lost inside the quake where the systems flow. Kick rolls pounding in a molten stride, drums collide fast like a crashing tide. Vocal shards drift in a process sweep, ripping through the void where the shadows creep. Down hums soft like a dying beam. Silence folds thin like an empty dream, then the burst hits hard with a laser strike, dragging all the chaos back into the spike. Neon fall line breaking from below, shattering the pulse in a sudden glow. Riding on the clash as the patterns throw, lost inside the quake where the systems flow. Neon fall line breaking from below, shattering the pulse in a sudden glow. Riding on the clash as the patterns throw, lost inside the quake where the systems flow. Fragments fade slow in a dwindling spark, trailing thin lines through the hollow dark. But the neon waits in a buried seam, ready to fracture through the next regime. Twisting every moment out of time. Hi-hat snap quick like a coated flare, pattern slice clean through the weighted air. Riser pulling slow in a tense incline, holding every echo on a faulted line. Signal fracture cut in through the frame, splitting all the noise like a wild flame. Riding on the break of a warp domain, lost inside the drift where the waves unchain. Kick drum bursts in a jagged slam. Rhythm shatters sharp like a metal can. Vocal shards shimmer in a drifting haze, falling into patterns where the circuits blaze. Breakdown sing slow like a drain machine. Silence trembling thin in a ghost-like sheen. Then the burst ignites with a sharp recoil, dragging every signal back from the boil. Signal fracture cutting through the frame, splitting all the noise like a wild flame. Riding on the break of a warped domain, lost inside the drift where the waves unchain. Frequencies fade in a trailing spark, falling like dust through the hollow dark. But the signal hides in a silent seam, waiting for the surge to reawaken. Cling, 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 cling. Oh. Echoes swarm tight in a mirrored spin, low end pressure dragging from within. Leads carve patterns in a looping glide, pulling all the motion to the deeper side. Hi-hat ticks slide like a splitting chain, rhythms cut sharp through the metal strain. RZA pulls taut in a rising hold, holding every breath in a grip ice cold. Pulse divergence tearing at the core, breaking through the static with a violent roar. Racing on the line where the shadows pour, lost inside the drift, wanting something more. Snaps hard like a loaded strike. Drums fold quick in a shifting spike. Vocal grains scatter in a filtered sweep, tracing broken echoes where the signals leap. Breakdown dims, soft like a fading glow. Silence wraps tight as the patterns slow. Then the launch erupts with a sudden blast, dragging every moment back lightning fast. Pulse divergence tearing at the core, breaking through the static with a violent roar. Racing on the line where the shadows pour, lost inside the drift, wanting something more. Slow in a thinning stream, drifting like ghosts from a shattered dream. But the pulse remains in a quiet trace, ready to break free in another chase.
notes streaking a metallic glide, pulling all the tension to the system side.
Hi-hats scatter like a silver rain. Rhythms twist tight in a moving chain. Roses breathe slow in a stretched incline, ramping up the pressure in a narrow line.
Voltage stride tearing through the night, flashing every frame in a driven light, riding on the spark of a coded flight, locked inside the surge where the waves ignite. Locked inside the surge where the waves ignite.
Kick drum storms in a hammering run. Patterns collide as the sequences stun. Vocal cuts flare in a distant sweep, floating through the static where the layers leap.
Breakdown folds thin in a softened drift. Silence shifts slow like a fading lift. Then the build strikes hard in a rising blaze, pulling every cycle back into the phase. Voltage stride tearing through the night, flashing every frame in a driven light, riding on the spark of a coded flight, locked inside the surge where the waves ignite. Locked inside the surge where the waves ignite.
Signals scatter in a broken trail, fading past the noise like a thinning veil. Yet the charge remains in a dormant glow, waiting for the next strike to overflow.
Oh, current snaps loud in the trembling air, pulse spikes twisting with a hidden flare. Circuits hum low in a grinding stride, pulling every heartbeat into the tide. Glitches spark bright in a shattered line, rhythms bend hard like distorted time. Pressure rises sharp in a coiled frame, feeling every second rewriting the game. Voltage recoil, tearing through the zone, ripping through the dark like a forked cyclone, riding on the shock where the sparks are thrown, lost inside the surge where the charge has grown. Kick thunders deep in a primal shake, patterns break wide in a sudden quake. Sim blades cutting with a neon scream, slicing through the noise like a fractured dream. Breakdown whispers like a fading wire, tension hovering close to the edge of fire. Then the blast erupts in a roaring tide, pulling every signal back into the ride. Voltage recoil, tearing through the zone, ripping through the dark like a forced cyclone, riding on the shock where the sparks are thrown, lost inside the surge where the charge has grown. of an empty space, but the current waits in a hidden core, ready to ignite and rise once more. Pressure snaps deep where the pulses crack. Baseline growls low, pulling shadows back. Lead drones tunnel in a frozen sweep, dragging every heartbeat from the deep. Hi-hats flicker like a frantic sign. Rhythms punch holes through the tide and line. Rise or climb slow in a burning rise, filling every second with electrified skies. Core collapse, tearing down the grid, shaking every wall till the edges skid. Riding on the blast like a force unhid, lost inside the push where the sound outbid. Kick hits roaring in a molten blast. Patterns break fast like a system cast. Vocal cracks echo in a flaring streak, ripping through the void where the signals peak. Breakdown drifts thin like a hollow wave. Silence holding tight as the beat behaves. Then the strike erupts with the blinding flare, pulling every fragment back through the air. Core collapse, tearing down the grid, shaking every wall till the edges skid. Riding on the blast like a force unhid, lost inside the push where the sound outbid. Glow falls faint in a dwindling tone, resting in the dust of the broken zone. Yet the core still hums in a hidden trace, waiting for the crash of the next embrace.